There are two places in this world where most people should always feel welcome. There are two places where no matter what has happened in the past, where no matter how many sins you've committed, no matter how long you've been gone, the doors are always open for you to return. Now, one of these places was made famous by a quote in The Wizard of Oz. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. You should always be welcomed at home, right? I know for me personally, if the worst were to happen and I found myself bankrupt, unable to pay bills, I could always go home to my parents. Now, I wouldn't want to do that. Once you reach a certain age, I don't think it's healthy for adults outside of a romantic relationship to be living with each other. But if worse comes to worse, I know I always have a home to fall back on. The other place you should always feel welcome: church. Doesn't matter the religion, whether it's Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, the church doors should always be open, welcoming anyone who needs to come inside. I think there was even a story in the Bible where Jesus was hanging out with the sinners at one point instead of his disciples, or something like that. Either way, you get the point. The church should always welcome you, whether you're the millionaire family man or the struggling drug addict. Unfortunately for Bob Griner, it appears that he's not welcome at either one. Oh, Bobby. Oh, Bobby. It's been about 2 weeks since bumbling Biden gave all of us an early Christmas present by orchestrating a prisoner swap where we sent Russia a skilled assassin and received a skilled garbage man in return. It was a trade for the ages. Our president, he is one shrewd negotiator. My sources tell me the Russians, they were actually willing to make this an even swap, an even trade. They were willing to accept a mop handle in exchange for Bob Griner. Joey knew Bob would need that mop handle when he returned home. It was just too valuable. In order for the BG to replicate her past legendary performances, Joe knew she would need that mop to properly scrub the bathroom floors in the dump. She has this unique ability to make those floors shine. With that being the case, our president thought it would be a better idea to swap a highly skilled arms dealer instead. Now, if you listen to the mainstream media, you would think America has spent the last 2 weeks celebrating the return of Brittany Griner. A couple of weeks ago, I showed you guys how ESPN covered this monumental event. Damn near 24 hours of wall-to-wall coverage of Brittany Griner. ESPN shows dedicated to covering the NBA were turned into celebrations of dump diving. Just when we thought the celebration was going to end, an exciting announcement was made, extending the party through the holidays. Last week, Bob released a statement informing the handful of people who cared about his future plans. I know last season was tough on all three of you, but have no fear. Airballed layups and making dunks in the opponent's basket is returning to a WNBA dump near you. I, Brittany Griner, am officially announcing my return to pretend basketball. The campus of Woke U Bristol exploded with excitement. Max Kellerman was rattling the cage he's confined in. Stephen A. Smith popped a fresh bottle of Preparation H, anticipating the celebration hangover the next morning. Malika Andrews was so excited, she interrupted another episode of NBA Today. A show supposed to be dedicated to covering real basketball was once again interrupted to cover someone who couldn't make the men's team at the local YMCA. Becky Hammon was once again on set, planning to discuss the NBA. Becky Hammon, more than qualified to analyze the NBA. She spent years as an assistant under Greg Popovich. Now, I've yet to figure out the purpose of Malika Andrews, besides the fact she keeps the potted plants alive by converting oxygen to carbon dioxide. When Brittany Griner made this exciting announcement, the focus of the show shifted towards the WNBA season. The propaganda was out in full force. Watch for yourself.
There is so much to love about that statement. Griner saying that she intends to play in the WNBA this upcoming season. Becky, for the W, for this just to be, how big is it to have her back on the floor here?
Well, her presence was missed on every turn last year. So I'm excited that she's back here. She's excited about playing basketball. And I think one thing, her faith got her through these rough times, these last 10 months. And I think that's if there's one thing that connects us, it's our humanity. and God is in everybody. And, you know, for her to feel that love, because I don't think she had any idea how many people were pulling for her, how many people were praying for her, how many people were loving on her from afar, but she felt it. And those are like supernatural things that I think are so special in the human experience that, yes, we're excited to have BG back.
Did I just hear Becky Hammon say Bob Griner's faith got her through her extended Russian vacation? Did I hear that correctly? The last I checked, Brittany Griner worshipped the woke oak tree. Not sure if Becky Hammon knows this. Oak trees do not grow in Siberia. It's too cold. I'm struggling to understand how faith got her through the last 10 months when she didn't have a tree to worship. Becky Hammon also claimed Brittany Griner didn't have any idea how many people were pulling for her back home, begging for her return. Yeah, I'm sure she didn't know this because no one cared. I don't know one person who was clamoring for the return of Brittany Griner. Seems to me most people felt like she got what she deserved. Now, that doesn't mean they wanted her imprisoned in Russia for 10 years, but all the years that she spent shitting on America, accusing people of myths and fantasies, many people were happy to see a woke shitfuck be humbled. The mainstream media will lead you to believe that everyone is just so happy to see Bob Griner back home. Keyword: home. Brittany Griner is originally from Houston, Texas, but for 4 years of her life, she called Waco, Texas home. Waco, Texas is where the University of Baylor is located. Now, before Bob became a semi-professional pretend basketball player, she spent 4 years at the amateur level, honing her craft, learning how to make a free throw appear that it's going in, but ultimately missing the mark. Brittany Griner redefined the phrase nothing but net at the college level. Many of her shots were classified as nothing but net, they just didn't make it through the hoop first. During the 2012 season, she led Baylor to an undefeated record, winning the national championship. She was named Most Outstanding Pretender at the women's tournament. Now, this was back when the media correctly called it the women's tournament instead of misclassifying it as March Madness. The only madness involved with women's basketball is having to watch it. But with her unparalleled success at Baylor, you would think Brittany Griner would be welcomed back to Waco with open arms. Last night, University Baptist Church held a welcome home party for Brittany Griner. Remember a couple of weeks ago I told you guys the shitfucks were planning an epic butt bongo festival to honor the homecoming of Brittany Griner? That prediction ended up being true. This homecoming celebration was announced 2 weeks ago during the Sunday morning service. Everyone was invited to attend. They wanted everyone to have the chance to worship their living God in person. I looked up some pictures of University Baptist Church. I wanted to make sure the building was able to hold the capacity crowd that was expected to attend. I mean, a celebration for Brittany Griner, that should have thousands of attendees, right? I was expecting this to be held at the basketball arena, maybe even the football stadium. Hell, maybe they needed to provide brooms so everyone could fly up to Jerry's World in Dallas. It is not outside the realm of possibility that over 100,000 people would attend the immaculate return of the Great One, right? I mean, Christians have been waiting for over 2,000 years for the return of Jesus. For those who follow the woke faith, this is the same thing. But organizers for the celebration, they wanted this to be a more intimate gathering. They decided to hold the celebration at University Baptist Church, a place before last night Brittany Griner had never stepped foot into, but they decided to hold the celebration here so only, 1 or 2,000 people could attend. You don't want things getting out of control. You gather 100,000 shitfucks in one area, there could be billions of dollars in damage. Stores looted, buildings burned, toilet water emptied from all the drinking. This smaller venue, much better choice. So, with all that being said, how many people showed up last night to this event only rivaled by the Immaculate Conception? How many showed up? Take a guess for me. Just throw a number out there. Well, KC, it had to be at least 1,000 people. Not even close. 2,000. You're going the wrong way. 500. Nope. 300. Nope. Think of a number with only 2 digits. 69. No, but I understand why you would think that. Last night, A grand total of 20 people welcomed Brittany Griner home. 20! 20! If you removed family members and members of the church staff, I would imagine the real attendance number was 0. None. Remember last year when I showed you guys the lack of attendance at the WNBA Championship Parade in Chicago? You guys remember that? Attendance last night at Baylor made attendance in Chicago look like the crowd at the Super Bowl. Earlier today, ESPN published a lengthy article coming up with all kinds of excuses as to why no one showed up last night. Well, you know, students are home for winter break. Waco, Texas has a metro population of over 280,000 people. Try again. Well, there were hundreds of people that were supposed to show up, committed to show up, but they all got sick at the last minute. Yeah, the old-fashioned I'm sick excuse. The favorite excuse for anyone looking to get out of something they don't really want to do. Well, the church live streamed the event online. People were watching at home. Oh, really? Well, I happened to look up viewership numbers, but for some strange reason, I couldn't find them. I promise you, if thousands of people watched this celebration online, the media would be bragging about it today. Now, this should tell you all you need to know about the so-called popularity of Brittany Griner. She can't even get support in her former hometown. It should also prove the same point I've been making for, 2 or 3 years now about the unpopularity of the WNBA. No amount of media coverage, no amount of media praise can cover up the fact America does not care about dunk divers. We just don't care. Now, both ESPN and the WNBA over the next few months, they are going to hype the on-court return of Brittany Griner. They are going to beg you to watch. It wouldn't surprise me if her return game set record low ratings for both ESPN and the WNBA. But give me your thoughts. Brittany Griner's homecoming celebration was attended by essentially no one. I've seen longer lines at Subway than I saw last night in Waco. Give me your thoughts on it. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.